right, so good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for wanting to be a part of HoCo by Design, the county's general plan update. My name is Mary Kendall. I'm one of two deputy directors with the Department of Planning and Zoning, and I'm joined by some wonderful colleagues who I'd love to ask them to introduce themselves. So, Kristen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being a part of this. My name is Kristen O'Connor. I'm Chief of Community Planning here at Howard County Planning and Zoning.
Thank you. And Jeff?
My name is Jeff Delmonico. I work under Kristen's group, and I'm currently a Master's of Community Planning student as well.
Great. Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody. So what we're going to do today, like I said, we'll hold off on the introductions. We're going to push that back a little bit. But primarily what we're going to focus on is we're going to give you a brief overview of what a general plan is. And then we're really going to get into what on the table is, because that's what everybody's here today. And we're going to get into that specifically by actually going through a conversation. So again, welcome to HoCo by Design, the county's general plan update. This is our website. We want to encourage everybody to go there and register. Basically, this is the place to go to stay informed. So please, please, please register on our website so we can have your email address and email you about all of the upcoming meetings and engagement activities that are happening associated with the general plan update. This is a process that'll be lasting through the end of 2021. So there's going to be a lot of forthcoming information and we don't want you to miss it. So register here or like us on the Facebook page. So generally, I'd like to have a little discussion with people to ask you, what do you think a general plan is? And when you're facilitating your own events, this might be a good question to ask the group just to see if anybody has an understanding of what a general plan is. But basically, the general plan is a document that establishes the county's policies on land use, growth, and development. It's updated once every 10 years as required by law. And the general plan is used to guide the county's capital budgets, policies and zoning and land development regulations that not only impact land development, but environmental conservation. So perhaps a simpler way to define what a general plan is, because those were kind of a lot of words, I think, to describe what's a policy document, a visionary document. But it's the general plan. It guides our county's budgets, our laws, and our programs that impact the natural and the built environment and govern how we use it. So when you're trying to communicate to people, what is a general plan? Why is this important to me? How is it important to me? It's like, well, the county makes budget decisions about what they're going to invest in as it relates to land development, environmental conservation, and those sorts of things. All right. Next slide. So just to kind of continue on that idea, which might help people better understand what a general plan is as it pertains to addressing challenges and issues in our built and natural environment. So some examples of things a general plan might address would be public facilities, recreation and community centers, housing, transportation system, parks, how population and growth impacts our infrastructure, schools, and neighborhood amenities, agriculture land. So again, pretty much anything that is the built and natural environment. So what our general plan is going to do, in addition to making these broad policy statements that reflects our community's values, HoCo by Design is also going to have a focus on community design and community character, which is really all about what we want our county and our neighborhoods and communities to look like. Also, the HoCo by Design, it will be organized around themes. So what does that mean? Basically, a lot of times general plans are organized in silos or chapters. There's a chapter dedicated just to transportation. There's a chapter dedicated to the environment. There's a chapter dedicated to housing. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to kind of create more integrated recommendations, more comprehensive, holistic recommendations. So for example, instead of just recommendations focused on how we can improve transportation, it might be something more like, how can we create opportunities? How can we create multimodal transportation that connects jobs to housing and to county so that we can reduce traffic congestion and also reduce greenhouse gas emissions? So as you can see, that's something that benefits the environment, it benefits the public, because we're creating more opportunities to walk or bike potentially, which improves public health outcomes. But the thing is it's really, those are things that have to reflect your values. So we can't identify what those themes are until the community tells us what your values are and what's important to you. Hence the purpose of this community engagement. HoCo By Design is doing a great deal of community engagement and outreach, which thank you all so much for being here to help us with. Your input is what is going to help us identify the themes, development preferences, and community needs and priorities that we want to have reflected in the general plan. The general plan, we update it every 10 years, as I mentioned. However, it looks forward to 20 years in the future. So what should we be focusing on over the next 20 years? How should we be directing the county's budget? How should we be changing or maintaining county's programs that have an impact on land use, growth, and development? So without further ado, welcome to On the Table, everybody. This is where On the Table is hosted on the HoCo By Design website. This is what the On the Table webpage looks like. What is on the table? For those of you in the Planning Advisory Committee meeting last night, you heard that it's really just all about getting together with friends, neighbors, colleagues to have a chat. Have a discussion about what you think is great about Howard County, what you think could be better, and how should we go about changing it for the better. And that's it. And the reason why we really want the community to help us have these conversations is because, you know, I think you can have perhaps a more genuine conversation with people when you're not the government coming out and saying, hey, talk to me. Although we like to think we're very approachable. But I think all of you already have those personal relationships and connections with the community better than a lot of us in government. So how do you get started? So we recognize that having a conversation about growth, land use, development isn't always the easiest thing to talk about because it's kind of a complex, complicated issue and you may not always know where to begin. So we have developed an on-the-table host toolkit, which is on our website that gives you some tips and ideas for how to get started. And also we're gonna give you some tips as we go through the conversation in a little bit. But basically how you want to get started is if you're going to be hosting a conversation, please register on our website. And then you just need to invite people to meet you, likely in a virtual setting. Thank you, COVID, which was sarcastic. And then you're just going to have a conversation. Take notes and then share those notes with the county. The On the Table host toolkit does have a good number of conversation starters and questions that you're welcome to ask, but don't feel like you have to only have conversations about that. Remember, this is just all of us trying to, you're informing us what are the county's values, needs, priorities as it relates to growth, development, and land use. But another thing that we have created that might help you get some of these conversations started is this nice looking document that we call Howard County Fast Facts. So for example, some things that people might not know about the county that may be an interesting topic of discussion. Again, back to this being all about what does our community look like? Well, 71% of all the homes in Howard County are single family detached homes. That's about the same as Maryland, a little higher than all of the United States. However, those homes cost almost $500,000 on average. Those owner-occupied single-family homes are very expensive, 1.5 times greater than the rest of Maryland. So the question is there something? Do we need to do something? Do we want to talk about that? Is that an issue? Is that a challenge? Do you want to talk about the fact that on average it takes people 29.8 minutes to commute to work? So just some facts to share with your groups that might help get the conversation started. Again, just want to hammer home the point that we have so many opportunities for people to get involved and share their values, their needs, and their priorities But most importantly, the way to do this is for you to register at HoCo By Design, and please encourage everyone who participates in your conversations to register with our website as well and register on the Facebook page. Under item number 2 on this slide, those are a lot of other activities that are either happening now or on the near horizon. All of them are listed on our public engagement section of the HoCo By Design website. So with that, now we're going to get into the fun part. We're actually going to start the conversation.